According to Rabbi Akiva, the central principle of the Torah is V'ahavta l'recha kamocha. However, many of us look for love in the opposite direction. Much more than we aspire to love others, we hope for others to love us. However, as a short story by Hermann Hesse demonstrates, the secret to happiness is in loving and not merely to be beloved. Once upon a time, there was a woman expecting a baby, and she went to the local saint. She asked him to bless the baby, and the saint said that he would give any blessing that she desires. So she asked that to bless her, that everybody should love her child. The saint's eyes opened wide and said, "Are you sure this is what you want?" "Yes, of course. I want everybody to love my baby." The child received the blessing, and indeed all loved the child. However, he grew up to be quite spoiled because they would forgive him everything and make of him so few demands. But ultimately he was very beloved, but he felt so lonely. He didn't earn any of that love, and there was no one that he felt attached to. But one day he discovered the source of his unhappiness and ran back to the saint, who now was very, very aged, and asked him to reverse the blessing. Instead of everybody loving him, he asked to love all. And despite the hardships he then endured, because suddenly everyone asked themselves, what do we see in this guy? And gave him his due deserts for all his previous misdoings, he found happiness in truly loving all. And this point is also central to the famous movie Citizen Kane. The movie begins with the moment of death of Cain, whose last word is Rosebud. And there's a reporter whose mission is to discover who or what is Rosebud. And throughout the movie we learn about the life of Cain, who grew up without his parents but fabulously wealthy, and he devoted his life pretty much to be loved by others, to be popular, and always seeking the popularity, but finding it so empty, looking for people to love him without loving others. And I won't spoil the movie, but ultimately the Rosebud is connected to something very minor, something very trivial, that goes back to when he was still living in poverty, but that one thing that he truly was connected to. And this insight is really known by all parents. Parents love their children much more than even the best children love their parents in return. But as every parent knows, the joy parents have from children is much greater than the joy that the children have from the parents. And this point could very much help guide us in our decisions. Because somehow many of us feel we want to be popular, we want to be loved, we do all sorts of things to be more popular, more beloved, or things that make us think we'll be more beloved. But by realizing that what really counts is the love we give and not the love we get, this could help us do what's truly right for those people we love, even if it's not popular. Ultimately, loving and being beloved are connected. There's a story about Rav Chaim Volozhin, the first Rosh Yeshiva of Volozhin, that once he had to collect money to free some captives. And in his journey to raise the funds, he had to go through a forest that had a very bad reputation, that many people who entered this forest never came out. He felt he had no choice, and with a group of his students, he traveled through the forest, and when he got to the heart of the forest, he discovered its secret. Suddenly a group of bandits surrounded them, forced them to give over whatever they had, and informed them that they would kill them to leave no witnesses. Rav Chaim asked for a few moments and looked into the face of the head of the bandits. And after a few moments, the head of all the thieves turns to Rav Chaim and says, "Go, run!" And they didn't have to be asked twice, and Rav Chaim and the students fled and reached the edge of the forest in safety. The students asked Rav Chaim, "How did you do this miracle?" And Rav Chaim said that when that man said he's going to kill us for our money, I felt filled with anger. But for my own sake, I didn't want to die with my last emotion to be such a powerful feeling of hatred and anger. So I decided to work on myself, look in the face of the master thief, and think and find some empathy, some compassion for a person who has fallen so low. Apparently no one ever looked at him that way, and after that he couldn't find it in himself to kill us. And this insight that by loving you ultimately become beloved is actually made in a beautiful verse in the book of Mishlei. In Hebrew it reads, "Kemayim hapanim lepanim, kein lev hadam ladam." As in water, face answers to face. As in water, the face sees its reflection, so too the heart of man to man. Shabbat Shalom.